Have you ever had the strange feeling that something was wrong, but couldn't explain what? As if your decisions weren't entirely yours, as if you were being guided by an invisible force. Perhaps you've done favors you didn't want to do, given in arguments where you were right, or trusted people who later showed a different face. If this has ever happened to you, and I know it has, then this video is for you. Because the brutal truth is, you are being manipulated every day by people close to you, by the media, by leaders, by those who know how to operate the secret mechanisms of the human mind. And the worst part? You don't even realize it. You don't need hypnosis or cinematic mind control. The most effective manipulation is the one that makes you think you are in control, that the decision was yours, that the mistake was yours. Most people live like this, silently, being guided like pieces on a board game they didn't even know they were playing. And when they try to react, they feel guilt, fear, doubt. They have been emotionally trained not to resist. And if you think this doesn't happen to you, stop right now, because that's exactly what a good manipulator wants you to think. In this video, I won't offer you comfort. I will give you tools. Because those who master the art of manipulation, as Machiavelli understood, don't need to shout or force. They simply observe, understand your weaknesses, and act. They know what drives you, and if you don't know, you will be driven. You will understand how people manipulate without you realizing it. You will recognize the patterns, the emotional tricks, the subtle games of control. You will identify your own vulnerabilities and learn how to shield your mind. Because true freedom isn't about doing what you want, but knowing why you want it. This video is a call, a summons for those who are tired of being used, for those who have suffered in silence, been blamed, silenced, conditioned. Here, you will learn to step out of the role of puppet and take on the role of strategist. But I warn you, once you see, you won't be able to pretend you don't know anymore. So, from now on, get ready, because what you are about to discover may completely change the way you see people and yourself. Have you ever noticed how certain people always seem to get what they want, even when they don't deserve it? They don't shout, threaten, or beg. They persuade, they engage. They make you believe that giving in was your idea. This isn't charisma, it's technique. It's manipulation in its purest and most effective form. The manipulator doesn't act on impulse. They observe, they study you, your reactions, your weaknesses, your emotional needs. They notice when you need approval, when you fear rejection, when you feel guilty for saying no, and they use that. Manipulation begins before the first word. It starts with the silent reading of your body language, the tone of your voice, the pauses between sentences. Some use charm. They smile, compliment, present themselves as different from others. They make you feel seen, heard, special. But behind this veneer of kindness, there is calculation. They are creating an emotional debt in you. Because when someone is too good, your instinct pushes you to reciprocate. And that's when you start to give in. Others prefer guilt. They play the victim. They say they are overwhelmed, that no one understands them, that they only have you. Gradually, they put you in a position of emotional responsibility. And if you pull away or say no, they don't need to fight. A sigh, a cutting remark, a look of sadness is enough. The subtle manipulator never need to ask explicitly. They make you offer. And then there are those who use fear. They create catastrophic scenarios. If you do this, you'll end up alone. If you leave me, you'll never find someone like me again. They don't bind you with chains. but with ideas. They make you doubt your own ability to act. And so, you remain trapped, of your own volition. These strategies are not new. Niccolo Machiavelli, in The Prince, described with surgical coldness how manipulation can be used as a legitimate tool of power. He understood before anyone else that human beings are driven by interests and emotions, and that those who grasp this can shape realities. As he said, men judge more by their eyes than by their hands, because all can see, but few can touch. Manipulation is precisely that, a visual and emotional spectacle set up to appear as reality. The manipulator creates a theater, and you, without realizing it, become part of the cast. They assign roles, write the script, and make you act. And the scariest part? You believe the plot is yours, but this theater only works because there is something within you that allows it. A gap, an emotional weakness, an unacknowledged desire. This is where we enter the next part, the vulnerability that makes you a target. Because as long as you don't see what weakens you, you will continue to be manipulated, and call it love, friendship, or respect. Let's expose this now. If this content is making sense to you, click the subscribe button and subscribe to the channel. Thank you for your support. You are not manipulated because you are weak. You are manipulated because you are human, because there exists within every human being an emotional blind spot, an unresolved desire, a wound that hasn't healed, a silent need that acts as a gap. And that's where the manipulator comes in. They don't force, they listen. They perceive what you don't even see in yourself. Some of us carry an insatiable thirst for approval. From an early age, we were taught to please in order to deserve affection. We learned that love comes as a reward, not as a right. And so we begin to shape our attitudes to be accepted, valued, seen. This need, this hole in the chest, is an invitation for the manipulator. They give you crumbs of validation, and you return blind loyalty. They say what you want to hear, and in exchange, you give up your autonomy. Others carry guilt as an invisible burden. They blame themselves for saying no, for prioritizing themselves, for setting boundaries. They were taught that thinking of oneself is selfish, that sacrificing oneself is a virtue. And that's why, even when they feel something is wrong, they don't react, because they think they are being too harsh, ungrateful, cold. The manipulator knows this guilt. They insinuate themselves as someone who only wants what's best for you. And with that, they begin to control your decisions through distorted morality. And there are still those who carry fear. Fear of rejection, fear of loneliness, fear of being forgotten. Such people cling to any connection, even if toxic, out of dread of facing the void. The manipulator offers a false sense of security and then threatens to take it away. They make you feel that without them, you are nobody. And you believe it because your fear already told you that before they did. All these vulnerabilities have an origin. They don't arise from nowhere. They are the result of past experiences, silent traumas, inherited emotional conditioning. But as long as you don't confront these wounds, they remain open. And those who approach with a smile on their lips and ulterior motives know exactly where to touch. Machiavelli knew this. He understood that real control doesn't require force, only knowledge of human weaknesses. The nature of peoples is variable, he wrote, and it's easy to convince them of one thing, but difficult to keep them in that conviction. The manipulator, then, does not convince. They occupy empty spaces. They settle where awareness is lacking. But there is a way out. You don't have to continue being emotionally predictable. You can learn to identify your own gaps and seal them. Only then will you stop being an easy target and start living with clarity. And that's exactly what we will reveal in the next part. How to develop real emotional armor, creating true immunity against manipulation. Are you ready to stop being a hostage? Because the next step requires courage. Most people want to stop being manipulated, but few are willing to pay the price of emotional freedom, brutal awareness, because the truth sets you free. But first, it hurts. And the first wound you need to heal is the illusion that being good, empathetic, and understanding protects you. It doesn't protect you. In fact, it is these virtues, when not balanced with clarity, that make you an easy target. Developing emotional immunity is not about becoming cold, but about becoming aware. It's about stopping the automatic reactions to the emotional triggers that manipulators use against you. And the first step to that is recognizing your patterns. Stop and observe. What triggers make you give in? Is it the fear of disappointing someone? The anxiety of being rejected? The desire to keep the peace at any cost? When you understand what drives you, you start to change the game. The second step is to cultivate what Machiavelli would call strategic detachment. You need to learn to emotionally distance yourself from situations without losing empathy. This means observing without immediately getting involved. It means not responding to compliments as if they were absolute truths. It means noticing when someone is guiding you through emotion and pausing to think before reacting. The manipulator relies on your emotional urgency. They need you to feel, not to think. So, think. The third step is to become unpredictable. Manipulators work with predictability. They map your responses. They know that if they cry, you will comfort them. If they compliment you, you will let your guard down. If they pressure you, you will give in. Your defense lies in breaking this pattern. Surprise them. Say no when they expect a yes. Disappear when they expect you to insist. Stay silent when they expect a confrontation. This disarms the game and forces the other person to reveal their true intentions. Another fundamental point is building a solid identity. The more you know who you are, the less you need to prove it. And the less you need to prove, the less power others have over you. Manipulators thrive on controlling the perception you have of yourself. They make you doubt, question, reevaluate, always in line with their narrative. When your internal vision is firm, external control loses its strength. And don't be fooled. This is training. Emotional immunity doesn't come from a video. It comes from the constant practice of self-observation, resisting the urgency to please, standing by your decisions, even when there's discomfort in the air. It comes from remembering that you owe nothing to anyone but your mental integrity, and staying sane in a world where everyone plays emotional games is, in itself, an act of resistance. Machiavelli wrote that men must be pampered or destroyed, for if merely offended, they will take revenge. This thought is harsh, but it reveals an uncomfortable truth. In the game of power, there is no neutrality. Either you dominate the emotional field or you will be dominated by it. But what if the manipulator is at home, at work, in bed next to you? How to act when you can't simply cut the ties? In the next part, we will delve into the more delicate realm of manipulation, close relationships, and how to escape emotional control even when the manipulator is someone you love. And this, perhaps, will be the hardest test of your strength.